Zach,
we're going to discuss third, short, second, and first.
Okay, that sounds great because I did want to discuss all of them, even though we know there's some set players.
Yes.
Like I wanted to discuss them. So
for sure.
Third base, obviously, it very well is going to be Tommy White. Zach, what do you? Tommy Tanks. I'll give my take on this. What do you think about it?
So, from what I've heard, you are at a better position defensively than you were last year. Jacob Berry was a first-round pick, and he did have a little bit of struggles at third base.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
He had some struggles at third base, and they are saying you are better defensively. I heard, Muse does Matthew Musso does a podcast. He discussed a play where they hit a bunt down the third base line, and Tommy White charged it, and barehanded it and sidearmed it to first base perfection. And I get it. Like Tommy's kind of a bigger guy, right? So like you don't.
So was Jacob. He was a little stockier.
Yeah, I mean, but Tommy's bigger than Jacob.
Sure.
Tommy's bigger. He's a bigger guy. So like you're not really expecting him to be like as athletic as he is, but he is.
He may surprise you. Yeah.
He is surprisingly more athletic than I thought, and I think a lot of people thought. And for somebody, for people that are watching these scrimmages and that are talking to coaches, for them to come out and say, "Hey, we might actually be better defensively at third base this year than, oh, by the way, first round draft pick Jacob Berry that was held last year."
Yeah,
like that's massive. And you want to work on the fielding. We know that most of the issues error-wise came in the infield. Obviously, we know, about the injury to Jordan. Obviously, Jacob had his struggles at third. Trey Morgan was injured almost all year, playing with a brace, as we mentioned last week. So
very, very
you were unhealthy.
Yeah,
you were unhealthy infield.
I don't know if it's unhealthy, but not 100% for sure.
Not 100% for sure. Now you're 100%, and you might actually be better defensively at the spot. You've got to replace two spots, right? You got to replace K. Doty. Now, I will say, I think you take a step back. They're saying you're going to take a step forward defensively at third base. I do think you're going to take a step back at second base because K. Doty was phenomenal last year defensively. He was good last. Well, I shouldn't say phenomenal. I was
about to say
he was. Out of all the infielders, he was the best.
He had your best year.
It wasn't great, no, but he had your best year defensively out of the infield, who had a horrible year last year.
Right.
So I do think you take a step back there. Maybe not so defensively, but overall talent, I think you take a step back there because K. Doty, I mean, he's a really great pitcher. Obviously, not pitcher, really great player. Obviously, got drafted. To replace him is going to be tough.
And he's doing well, by the way. He's doing well for himself.
And he was a large part of your offense last year. And K. Doty last year was clutch. He came up in clutch moments a lot. So, who becomes that guy that is able to step up in clutch moments? So it's going to be interesting to see who takes it. But, obviously we know per Jay Johnson. Now, a lot of people have speculated short. They're like, okay, we got Gavin Guidry coming in. Jordan Thompson had a really rough year last year. We find out, he dealt with an injury. A lot of people thought before they really knew, well, shortstop's going to be open next year. And per Jay Johnson, it is not.
So I need to get
is the shortstop.
Yeah, I need to get my take on third base. I need to get my take. So that was my what you just said made me feel a little bit better because last year we had Jacob Berry in the lineup because he had to be in the lineup and he was at third base. That's the best place we could find for him.
Yeah.
And it sounds like I think that is still what we are doing with Tommy Tanks. Like that is still what we are like. He's going to be in the lineup and this is the place we have for him.
Yes.
So when you do that defensively, it worries me. Now, I wasn't worried to the point where I was like, well, maybe he'll be better and worse than Jacob Berry. It's just the fact that like I'd never seen him play defense, and he didn't last year. At NC State, he was DH, and I think he played a little first base. So this is, he's
college level. It's his first time doing this.
Right. At the college level, it's his first time doing it. So that was my concern. I definitely want it to be better than last year. That's for sure. So if it's going to be better than last year, I'm excited about that.
That's
no doubt he belongs in the lineup, and he's going to be the third baseman. But I am curious to see how he does defensively. I want to see that for myself.
For sure.
So that makes me feel a little bit better that you've been hearing that because I haven't heard much about it, which maybe not hearing anything is a good thing.
Good thing.
Right. So shortstop, Zach, like you were just saying, Jordan Thompson. Anyways, go ahead.
Well, I mean, it's going to be Jordan Thompson. I mean, there's really no discussion, no debate about it. I mean, I'm sure like in probably some midweek games and whenever they rest him, they'll probably shuffle Gavin Guidry over there to get – because, I mean, he is the future at shortstop there. When Jordan leaves, he's going to be the guy there at shortstop. So, which I think is this Jordan's last year or he'll have one more year?
He is a
junior, right?
Junior. So he could come back if he wants to.
He could come back if he wants. Let's see how he does this year. But I
think he's gone.
I think
he has a good year. I think he's gone.
I agree. Like if they win the national championship, he's probably gone.
Yeah.
So
I think he could be gone even if they don't win the national championship.
First base we know is gonna be Trey Morgan, no argument. How much is there a potential that he goes to outfield? Maybe, as we have said.
I don't think it's going to be.
Whenever we were discussing the outfield, I don't even think his name's in the mix unless they're just having fun. And there's like, hey Trey, go out there and catch some fly balls. Just they're beating the crud out of somebody, and they're like, hey Trey, you want to go, catch some fly balls? Yeah, sure. So I think he's a lot, which, we mentioned, he wasn't healthy last year. So having him at 100% health this year is already just great to hear. Really excited to see him 100%. I mean, you saw him his freshman year. Awesome. Even last year with a massive brace on, he still was making
played well.
Plays. So now he's 100% healthy. He's in his third year. Let's see him take a step up.
Yeah, now, there was moments last year when you're like, why couldn't he, why did he get that one? Why, because we had seen what Trey did last year. Correct. Like Trey last year was like, okay, this is a normal first baseman, right? Like Trey freshman year is like superhuman, right? So I think we're going to get back to not to degrade Trey in any means from what, last year. Dude played, with that knee brace on and played very well, considering the circumstances. But it's definitely going to be excited to see him free of that, right? And 100%. So I'm very pumped because, I mean, he was making plays last year with a brace on that some people can't make, 100% healthy. And you've already seen some of the clips coming out of the scrimmages. And we know Demouy – few weeks back was like, ain't nobody making that play at first base but Trey Morgan, and he's the only one making it. So really excited to see him get back healthy and be at first base because I have never. I think this is true for anybody who's an LSU baseball fan. I don't know if there's ever been a more exciting first baseman ever.
Athletic wise, no.
It's incredible.
It really is.
It's incredible.
So Reagan, the biggest question of the infield
absolutely
is base.
Absolutely.
Give me your take. Last week, you had me start with the take on right field. I want to hear your take first.
Okay, so Jay Johnson is not naming a starter. Like, there's not going to be a starter.
He listed four guys. Yeah, 4
guys, and from what Jay Johnson is saying, all will contribute. So to start the year, we're going to see guys worked in and out. And it's going to be situational. Who's pitching that day for the other team? And how does one of these 4 guys line up against that guy? And what's the best matchup? So at the beginning of the year, I think we're going to see that. And I think what they're hoping to happen is someone takes control defensively, offensively, and takes the position and runs with it.
Yes, for sure.
So here's the 4 guys, just to have it out there so you know if you don't.
I'm looking at their which way they bat because I
Gavin Guidry, the freshman. Gavin Dugas, the veteran.
Yep.
The newcomer, Ben Napolt. And then the transfer from last year from LSU Eunice, Jack Merrifield, who you have been hearing a lot about. So here's my take. Okay. Gavin Dugas, veteran guy. I think he's going to play a lot. I don't think Gavin takes control of the position. I don't. Wow. Here's why. Number one, and this is not saying the injury is holding him back. He just had eye surgery recently, and he is full go. This like I think it was the last scrimmage or the next scrimmage.
Yeah,
and we're like 2 weeks out, so he has not been healthy, and he does not have the reps the other guys have. 1, 2, it's been a while since he's played second base. Do I think defensively he can do well and his bat can get him in the lineup? Absolutely. But with this surgery, I want to see how he does. I want to see if he's okay, right? Because obviously Jordan Thompson had a surgery prior to the season, and he led the SEC in errors last year. Mm-hmm. So how does Gavin respond to the surgery? How does he do? He's full go. As of right now, he's able to go up against live pitching. We'll see. We'll see how he does. So I don't think he's your day one. I'll say that. I think he could eventually. Let me take that back. I think eventually he could be your everyday second baseman. Potentially. I'm not saying he is. Potentially. I don't think he's your day one. I don't think Western Michigan, Friday, February 17th, Gavin Dugas is your starting second baseman. I don't think it's Gavin Guidry because of just freshman needing to grow. Do I think he will contribute? Absolutely. Day one starter, I do not think it's him. I think it comes down to Ben Napolt and Jack Merrifield. And this has been really hard for me because I knew we were going to talk about it tonight. And I knew we were going to make each other say, all right, who's the guy? Who's the guy we're saying?
Yeah.
And this has been really hard for me because Ben Napolt, obviously a guy who does very well at the plate, getting on base, very disciplined. Jay Johnson put him in the likes of Dylan Cruz and Trey Morgan in plate presence. So if he truly has a plate presence like those guys, like Jay Johnson is saying, that's a great attribute to have in another player in your lineup. And defensively, I think he will do very well. He was first team Athletic 10 at VCU last year. Great player defensively.
Yeah.
Jack Merrifield is a player you have been hearing a lot about his bat. Jay Johnson said he may have been your leader, and I guess in batting average maybe is what he was saying. Your leading batter this fall and in recent, scrimmages. And we know at LSU Eunice, he was junior college, second baseman of the year, defensive player of the year. So we know he's got the ability to, and he did it at second base. I know last year we tried to put him at third, but his defensive player of the year award came when he played at second at LSU Eunice. Mm-hmm. So we know he can play second base well.
Yeah.
And it sounds like the bat has improved very well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a really tough decision.
It really is.
I'm going this just solely off of what I've been seeing reported. I think Jack Merrifield is your day one starter.
Interesting.
Again, Jay Johnson has been adamant. He's not naming a starting second baseman like this is your everyday guy because all of them will contribute in some way. So we're going to see how that plays out and how they kind of feel that out at the beginning of the season. It'll be really interesting to watch. But day one, I think it's Jack Merrifield.
I think second base is more of a question than right field.
Oh, absolutely. You got four guys competing for it.
I think
four guys who could legitimately play it.
Yeah, it is the biggest question mark on this team, more so than catcher, more so than right field, more so than your pitching rotation, closer, all that stuff.
It's your most competitive spot.
It is your most competitive spot. Here's what I'll say. I agree with you. I think it comes down to Jack and Ben, who become the everyday guy. I think Gavin is going to get a lot of playing time, though.
Oh, no question. No question.
He's going to play a lot. Like,
his bat is too good to keep him out.
Yeah, I think it's a situation where he is at least playing one game a weekend.
DH, second base, somehow.
Possibly 2 games, 2 games a week. Like, we're going to see how that – he's going to play, especially if he gets healthy. I agree. I think it's between Jack and Ben Napolt, but I got to be honest. I think Napolt wins the job.
I think he very well could.
He's also another player that has been really talked about. Talked with Chris Demouy a while back, and he has – and everything that we've commented on, whether – on, potential lineup and just with me and him texting back and forth in conversations, he is very high on Napolt. I know NOLA.com is also very high on Napolt. So, I agree. I think it's going to be between Merrifield and Napolt because those are the guys that have been mentioned. And the good thing with Napolt is he bats left-handed.
Yeah.
So, and he is the only one that bats left-handed out of the 4. Gavin's a righty, Jack's a righty, and Gavin's a righty. So I guess I should say the Gavins. The Gavins are righties. Yeah. Guidry, Dugas, and then I'm going blank now on the other one. Jack's also a righty. So, Ben's going to offer something different there. Like when you really got to have a lefty-righty matchup, you're going to see. I think you're going to see the Napolt. So, especially when you have to have them at that position. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think it's a spot that's wide open. I'm very interested. That is going to be a big storyline to follow this year in regards to playing time, who takes over, all of that stuff. So I'm interested to see how it all plays out.
I will say this, Zach, because I have no idea who is in Western Michigan's pitching staff. If it's a right-handed pitcher, you're probably going to see Napolt. I will say that. Just because of the lefty-righty matchup. So,
and that's why I expect, because, when you're able to have a lot of lefties in your lineup, it's dangerous. A lot of good lefties.
Absolutely.
Like, good left-handed hitters. Like, yeah, it's going to be a problem. Reagan, to wrap this up, obviously the biggest area is the fielding. Because we had a massive issues with errors and fielding this past season. How much does that improve this season, in your opinion?
I think drastically. I think you see a very defensively sound team in terms of the middle of the infield, second shortstop.
Okay.
I think Trey Morgan becomes elite again. I think the only question mark is Tommy Tanks. How good is he? We don't know. We don't know. We didn't see that at NC State.
Are you at all worried about second base defensively because of guys having to rotate and maybe not being as, consistent, everyday type guys there?
Not really. I think all of them can play it very well. As the only one that I would be worried about, and I wouldn't even say worried. I wouldn't even say worried, is Dugas, just because it's been a while for him to play. I think naturally he's not really a second baseman. Mm-hmm. But Guidry, Napolt, and Merrifield, like they're second base guys.
Yeah.
They're second base, shortstop type players.
Yeah.
Not worried about them. I think Jordan Thompson. I mean, we have quickly forgotten how well defensively he played his freshman year, taking over the third base spot, then taking over the shortstop spot, and played very well. Played very well defensively for a freshman. And what was last year, I think, was absolutely a product of an injury that was nagging him, coming off surgery, not himself. And with Jay Johnson being like, hey, guys, he's the guy, I'm not worried at all. I think he has a great year.
Trust the coach.
Absolutely. Jay Johnson will know way better than I will. So I'm all in on Jordan Thompson. I think he has a huge comeback year. Huge.
Gonna be exciting.
Absolutely.